Okay, I'm really excited. It feels weird to not have an audience applaud for this guest, but we have POINTCROW, Eric. Hello. Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this and being here.
Oh, thanks for inviting me. This is great. I'm so excited to be on.
I'm so excited to try and have a fun time with you and admit the chaos that is your life right now.
Oh, yes. You know, it's so exciting to just tell you all of the good things that are happening right now.
I can't wait. We have started talking fairly recently and have somewhat met in this fashion before. We just did, ironically, a mod video, a mod stream actually on Twitch, and we had a nice little chat in Discord around it, which was very fun. This is your first time getting to meet Bob, though.
Hello, is my first time.
How you doing? Good to meet you.
Hello. Yeah, Bob, you actually got me to buy my Nintendo Switch.
Oh my god!
Like,
now, how did that happen? Nice. Because I feel like I'm the Switch pusher here.
Hey, we can both make Switch videos. But I'm not allowed to have anybody come watch my videos.
I just want to know what video it was. How did that happen?
It was just like a lot of videos. Like, I knew the new Zelda game came out at the time. This was like 4 or 5 years ago. I knew it came out, and I was like, okay, I've like successfully avoided like all spoilers for it, and I was like really excited to play it just on my own. And then I get like a recommendation of like a video. I don't remember exactly what video it was, but it was like video games that are on the Switch right now, or like Switch accessories that you need to get. I didn't even have a Switch at the time.
I think I had a video called "What to Play Other Than Zelda."
That might have been it.
So actually, probably something like that. Yeah.
But then I just kept watching more and more videos of like Switch accessories, or like here's like the Power A, controller for this.
That's awesome.
And it was just entertaining. Like it wasn't even. I wasn't planning on getting any of these things. Like I just liked hearing about them.
Oh my god.
So if Bob's the reason you got a Switch and a majority of your career now is playing the Switch game Breath of the Wild, are we leaning into Bob being the origin of this channel?
Somewhat. One of the parts. Yeah, actually. But you don't get any royalties. I just want to make that clear.
I'm going to ask for money.
No, Nintendo's already trying to take all of those.
Oh, yes. True. You're right. Might not have a channel in a couple days.
Before we continue the conversation with POINTCROW in just a second, let's take a moment to thank the sponsor of this episode,
Skillshare.
Did you know the first 1,000 people to click the link in the description will get 1 month free trial of Skillshare? Now, let me tell you why you should even click that link. You may know Skillshare for classes in photography, film, and video editing, and illustration, but did you know that Skillshare has hundreds of career-focused classes too?
I mean, it's easy for us to say because we're YouTubers. We do film stuff, and we've used Skillshare personally to do, learn little things here and there. I gave it to my editor and made him learn green screen. You know how I do the 2 bobs in some ads and stuff? He used it to learn. He took a green screen class on there and one that's just to key things out, to mask. A little masking tutorial. So it's great to learn everyday skills that we use for our own jobs.
I do the same thing all the time. I recommend Jordy's classes all the time. He has classes on Adobe Premiere, Photoshop, After Effects. I did a whole class he did once learning how to rotoscope, actual rotoscope, but that's not the word I was looking for, to track. I did a flame on the end of my finger for a video, and he actually had a whole course on how to do that too, and it kind of made it look like I had superpowers.
He has a video editing with Adobe Premiere Pro for beginners. So he does a lot of super advanced stuff, but he could also teach you right from the ground up here over on Skillshare.
Being your own boss comes with hurdles to navigate, but Skillshare has an extensive class library. You can learn free tips, start a new side project to attract the right clients, or even start a business.
Yeah, dude. Did you know MKBHD has a class on here?
Yes, because you told me.
He's one of my favorite YouTubers. I like the way he does things, and now I can learn all about the way he does things.
That is actually really cool. For Nontendo listeners, Skillshare is offering a 1 month free trial for the first 1,000 people to use the link in the description. And I have used it before. And I know we focused on the editing side, but they actually have a class for everything, not just all that stuff. So go take a look. Go take a browse.
Click around.
Thank you.
With your free
Appreciate it.
trial that you get.
Bob, do you want to stream together on Twitch tonight?
No. I just told you I might friggin' mod a Game Boy Advance. What are you gonna do?
Not tonight when it comes out on Thursday.
Oh yes, sure, yeah.
Yeah, you want to do some Breath of the Wild on Thursday?
Sure, yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah,
A little multiplayer
okay.
mod.
See you guys tonight on Twitch. But now let's go back to the episode.
All right, bye guys.
Let's start right where we currently already are. So you made your channel back in January 2019.
Yes, January 13th, 2019.
Is that when your whole online career started, when you made that YouTube channel, Twitch channel you wanted to start doing?
Yeah, I literally I saw like the thing that like pushed me to do it was like a disguised toast video of like here's and it sounds so like weird like now when I put it like this, but it was like here's all of the ways that streamers make money, and I'm not doing this for money well, I am, but you know, like it's not like it wasn't like what started it. I need to put it like that. It was just very interesting because what it reminded me of, and this is what I took away from it, was that like Twitch was in its like infancy, like live streaming was very much like 2013 YouTube, 2012 YouTube, where it was like it was like kicking off, but like going mainstream. And I was like kind of always enamored by the content creator sort of like industry. And when I was young, I made like Minecraft videos alongside sea nanners. There's like some like old ones I've had to private now of like me going, "Hey guys, welcome into my Minecraft Let's Play." And so I was like, you know what, I'll give live stream a shot. And I got like a webcam. I watched like a couple videos on like how to do it, and then I just went live without like really ever watching Twitch or like anything. And then I made a YouTube video, a YouTube channel that same day, and I uploaded my stream to my YouTube channel. And I'm like one of the only creators that I know that still has my first stream ever like recorded.
Oh, that's so cool.
So yeah, it's privated now, of course, because I said like a lot of things about my life. So
Oh god.
yeah, it was like here's like all of the personal details. Like let me just like list them off live, and I was like, I can't make that public anymore.
Here's what I love about you. Okay. To start, I love that the start of your YouTube career was uploading a Twitch stream, because that is so much in essence of what became your key to success, which is so fantastic that right from the start. The other thing is like, I started my channel in 2013. So your channel is about half the age of mine. And it took me, I think, about the first 5 years to figure out YouTube and Twitch and how these platforms worked. You seemingly just had it figured out.
Just did it.
Very quickly.
Hit the ground.
Blew
Thank
up,
you.
and now absolutely crushing it. I mean, 1.6 million subs. Your Twitch always has thousands of people watching every time I tune in. It's absolutely incredible to see. And also just the ideas you come up with for Twitch streams, for YouTube titles, and it's inspiring. Like there's so much that I look at you and I'm like, man, I could be doing so much more and so much better.
No, I mean, you're doing great though. Like, what do you mean? No, I
know,
appreciate
but
that, though.
it's just you are up there on another level. You really are. You have content brain, and in the best way.
I mean, that's
I want to ask what's the thought process like? You seem to be just as big of a Twitch streamer as you are a YouTuber. So do you approach the Twitch streams thinking I'm going to make a YouTube video out of this?
That's a good question. So what I do is I think of an idea. Like normally it's in the shower. I think it's kind of a meme with like my friend circle of like, oh, Eric's like he has an idea block. Go take a shower, and then I will. Kid you not, I will, and I'll like have like 3 ideas later.
You'll just stink right up until that you run out of ideas,
and then it'll wash it off. You know.
Yeah.
But I'll like I think of an idea and I'm like, okay, I wonder if this is like interesting to watch. I'll think of before I do anything like ever on like my streams or YouTube. I think of like title thumbnail of like what I do. And if I don't have like a good like either title or thumbnail or combination, then I just like I'll like let it sit for a little bit longer. I'll like put in like a notes app and just like put it there, and then eventually like I'll think of something. And then when I stream it, it's like still not confirmed to be a YouTube video or anything. It's just like a recording session live with a chat where they can like interact with the recording session. Mm-hmm. And if that turns out to be good content, like if something, it can't just be like the idea itself. The idea has to turn into something else too. Yeah. So it's like you have this like narrative, this like story that you're telling, and then like what chat will do or what I'll do, or maybe some bit like runs wild, like that'll turn into its own thing that makes it better than just a regular like playthrough or something. Makes it like more creative. And then I'll turn that into a video. But even if it's like that, I'm known from like the editing circle to be very precise with my edits. Like I'll edit, like I'll get a video back and then I'll tell them to like remove a frame here or like add like like a slight thing there. My pages of notes for like a 40-minute video can be like up to like 6 pages, 7 pages long.
That is really wild.
Yeah, but it's not, my editors are great, by the way. Like they're fantastic. That's not to say that they're not good at what they do. It's just
the key to your success, though. It's that content brain. It's the Mr. Beast factor in a way of knowing how to keep someone's attention span throughout an entire video and wanting it to be that balls to the wall action from start to end. And every frame is a chance for someone to get bored and leave. Yeah. And like I get that.
It's kind of wild when you think about it. Yeah.
To talk about some of the videos that, for those that haven't maybe seen your content, we're talking about these wild ideas you're coming up with. Some of the videos in question for later today, for example, you had one I watched, Can I Beat Zelda If 5 Chickens Spawned Every Second? That one was insane. Literally, as you're running around in Breath of the Wild, chickens are just popping up behind you constantly the whole time. And it's such a simple idea. But again, as you said, you take it to Twitch, you go live with it, you see how it interacts with your audience and how the stream goes, and then how do you make that into a video?
It's like a beta test for the video.
Yeah, and you have the stream to thousands of people, and then you have the YouTube video get, let me see, 1.5 million views. So it is content clockwork, and you're incredible at it. Like it's so inspiring.
Yeah, the fun fact about that video is that's like an example of a video that wasn't going to make it to the YouTube channel until like the very end, when my friend and manager Abby came in and cracked an egg over my head, and it was like
not intended with chickens.
Yeah, it was just a perfect like bow ending where you're left at the very end.
She literally cracked an egg over your head?
Yeah, it was just like a couple eggs.
I thought that was like an expression for like a light bulb going on.
Oh, no, she literally like came in.
She literally cracked an egg.
Yeah, because like I couldn't beat Ganon with a bunch of chickens spawning because the entities spawning in the final boss area wouldn't, I think it was like it would make the game crash because there's too many. And so I quite literally couldn't beat the game. And so the end of the video would have just been like, all right, guys, we can't do it, whatever. But the fact that like she came in and then like made a fireworks ending to the video of like, oh God, no. And then just so you cut to end, it was like beautiful. Like without that, I wouldn't have done it. So
are there any technical things you have to do to get the game to run all of these wacky mods, like having a billion chickens running around?
There's like a couple things. So I've like hired some software developers in the past to be able to make these things. And we're getting into like the little weeds of it. But there's like some sort of like things where like that mod that was created for it was the same mod actually for if I say bear, then 10 bears spawn in Breath of the Wild. What I did though, so what that mod does is if I say bear, the voice recognition software will press a button on my keyboard, like a letter on my keyboard, and then it'll spawn.
It's so wild.
It's a little like out of the, it just makes it a little bit more lower level, I guess, where I can like adapt it for more content stuff. So what happened was I was like, that's a good idea. What if I made my own like bat file and ran that on a loop where it would spawn 5 chickens. So it'd press like the P button on my keyboard like 5 times every second to spawn the chickens. So,
But is there anything you need to do in the emulator itself to get it to run all of that stuff? Like to be able to handle a billion chickens at once?
no, there's some like memory, like you can extend the memory out for RAM. I don't think I did that. In hindsight, that
You just let it crash.
I just let it go, because it's kind of funny to a degree.
Yeah.
But besides that, like it's like the cool thing about that actual like mod is that's actually what eventually led into multiplayer, because the way that it was done was they would inject code into the totally vanilla game rather than modify the actual like game files itself. So they would like mod the game while it was running rather than mod it beforehand. And so that's sort of like what was the key like starter for multiplayer.
Wow.
Yeah.
It started from chickens and bears.
Yeah, kinda, yeah.
Does that make it so that if one person's running the game on their computer, it could update another person's game? Is that how that's working?
It was more like let me think about it. I think it was specifically like if Wood was playing their game and then Bob, you came in with your like it would spawn Bob in Wood's game. That was like the specific thing, like to update positions of like Wood's at the Great Plateau and then Bob comes running up. It's like that position, like those like the actual seeing the actor in the game was that like specific mod.
Right.
I don't know if I'm explaining that too well.
No, I understand.
This is something Bob gets,
position.
and I listen to. But you did.
We've messed around with me and Wood did multiplayer in Mario 64 like 3 years ago.
We also did Ocarina of Time.
We also did it. Yes.
I also played that
was,
mod. Actually, great, like very, very well written. Like that was a good mod.
Yeah, we were both like amazed at how well it ran.
Yeah, I mean that was my
good.
first and only time playing Ocarina of Time. Like I just didn't play it myself, but my friend wanted me to play Ocarina of Time so bad. He's like, okay, I have set up this mod for us. Let's do it. We're gonna do it like on stream or whatever. And we got this. And then I played all of Ocarina of Time, and now I have a deeper love for like the Zelda games because of it.
Wasn't that similar with you, Bob? You had like kind of played it, but
I played it when it came out way back in the day, and I hated it as a little 9-year-old. And then I was kind of forced to play it by Twitch chat like a year and a half ago, and I played through the whole thing, and I was like, nah, I still don't like it.
was that
like,
before or after we played it?
That was before we played it.
Then it's been more than a year and a half.
No, I'm sorry. No, that was after we played it.
Oh, okay.
When we played it, that's as far as I ever got.
When we played it, that's
how far
when
did you guys
got a
get up
message
to?
from Nintendo. We made a YouTube video, and I don't think we got that far.
We didn't get it. We I don't even know if we got past. No, we beat the Deku Tree boss.
We played for like an hour.
Okay, so first dungeon. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
not
we did
too
the first
much.
dungeon. And then he got kicked out of the Nintendo Ambassador program.
Yeah, well, that was the reason, but we'll get there. So you released your own Breath of the Wild mod. It was a multiplayer mod. Now, obviously, to get to that point made sense for you because so much of your career at this point has been revolving around Breath of the Wild mod videos. From your channel's launch to now, when did you start getting into the point where mod videos were kind of taking over and becoming your main content?
I think to put it subjectively, it's when I ran out of ideas for challenge content. When I beat the game, it's like I beat the game in every way you can conceivably beat the game. Like
you have like speed running records, right? You're like up there.
I think at the time I had a top 100 time in Breath of the Wild any percent. So beating the game as fast as possible in any percentage of completion. So it was like speedrunning didn't like take over my brain at that point. And then also I beat the game with every challenge that's ever known to man of like, I beat the game with a single stick, like one stick.
That's so cool.
Which is like now every challenge that's like, you can only use Lizalfos weapons is like, but I beat it with a stick. So it's like objectively like less impressive and less cool.
100%.
So it's like, I had to think of something else. And then that's when I released a video of just putting every single mod that I could find, like known to man, on Breath of the Wild and just calling it Breath of the Wild, but I added too many mods. And that did extremely well. So I was like, okay, let me like think here. How can I like take this and spin it into something that's even more creative or something different? And that was like 2.5 years ago, 2 years ago. The timeline of my own channel escapes me. So
your current time on speedrun.com for the Breath of the Wild is 34 minutes and 27 seconds.
It is.
Which is pretty crazy.
For the past month and a half, have been trying to grind that down. And it is like well known in my own like viewer sphere that's like that time has eluded me to beat. I've been on pace for speedruns to beat it by like 2-3 minutes, and then like I'll choke the end, because the Ganon fight, if you die at all in the Ganon fight for speedruns, like it's over. Like you just have to reset.
Yeah.
And so I've done that like every time, and it's so awful, but when it happens, it'll be great.
Did they take down that Too Many Mods video?
Is it still up? I have no idea. Like the thing is they took so many videos down. Like I don't know off the top of my head. That's the issue.
I was trying to find it because I wanted to do a comparison leading up to some comparisons. Yeah, I can't see it. I wanted to date yours next to the one I did, where I did the 100 mods in Breath of the Wild. I wanted to know who did this
like who did it first.
I don't want.
Am I just a wood stan, or like did I come up?
I mean, they're both clearly inspired by Skyrim, right?
Yeah, very clearly.
Putting a billion mods in Skyrim.
Yeah,
that was donkey.
I actually did not. I wanted to see whose came first, because one, I didn't know you made that video, and I swear I didn't try and steal it.
No,
but two, it's
not
interesting
an original idea.
because. No, I know. Well, I don't know. You crush it.
Thanks, man.
It's interesting to compare it because, as we'll just go ahead and lean into, Nintendo is going and taking down seemingly all of your mod videos. I can't even find this one. However, I have a mod video, essentially the exact same thing that was released 2 years ago around the exact same time, that Nintendo, believe me, are very aware of, because it was partly the main reason why I was dropped from the ambassador program. That mine's still up. Mine's not copyright striked. I did one the other week, 1,000 mods in Breath of the Wild. I did a whole stream on Twitch where I played through Breath of the Wild with crowd control, and to hype it up, I did 1,000 mods. That video is still up. However, on April 6th, I believe, they started claiming several of your videos gave you multiple copyright strikes, not claims, strikes, which are career ending.
Those are bad. Those are
at this point, news.
We don't like that.
At this point, it looks like you have over 20 videos that have been claimed and possibly blocked by Nintendo. Talk.
Yes, talk. Just tell us things. So like the way that Nintendo like did it was a little I don't want to put
nefarious.
Like words into their mouth.
It was nefarious.
It seems super nefarious. It happened right as your multiplayer mod got released. Suddenly, like the same day almost, you got hit with all these backwards.
Yeah. So they initially took down 4 videos, the multiplayer videos, and I was very proud of those. Like I'm very protective of my own videos. Like if any
of course
sponsor like ever wants to sponsor my videos, I'm like this needs to happen in this way, and you need to like it, or I'm not taking this. I'm just very protective of it, and so to have them just taken down was like, it just, my mind was blown, because it was just all of the hard work that we put in for like all of that stuff, and the thousands of hours that we put into like creating the mod. So they took down those videos, and I appealed them because I was like, this is like clearly within the guidelines that you've set out, and also like fair use and all of these.
So how many did they claim initially?
4.
It's like 4.
So they took 4 videos,
and then you appealed those 4 claims.
Yes, and I know for sure that they did not. It was very much like, okay, let's go through this guy's channel and see from a very service level point of view what has been multiplayer videos. There's actually 5 multiplayer videos that are out on my channel, but they only initially took on 4. The 5th one,
this even more so seems super targeted towards the fact that you were coming out with your own quote unquote mod.
Yes. So
the fifth one?
The fifth one is Zelda, but if I take damage, my game gets weird, because at the very end, we played the multiplayer mod for like 2 minutes. It's like a little teaser of like, oh, this is happening on the channel. So they took those down. I appealed them, and they got denied like the next day, which means that they striked my videos. And they did it in such a way that would put my channel right on the brink. So normally, like a company will normally take their bundle of videos that they don't like all at once, and they will issue one strike. It's like, hey, you did this bad. Here's a warning. But what Nintendo did was they took 3 videos and they bundled them together for one strike. And then they took another video from that group, and then they did a second strike as to not take down my channel, but be like, we could if we wanted to.
Yeah, if you do it one more time, your channel
For those
will be
that don't
taken
know,
down.
you get 3 strikes and then your channel gets taken down. So Nintendo literally found a way to give you the maximum amount before you. So it's like, hey, your channel's not gone, but if you do it again, it could be.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so you have 90 days for those strikes to expire, and your channel will be in good standing again. And so for the next 90 days, I am like clawing out my eyes, of like, is this going to like, am I going to have a channel tomorrow?
What are you going to do? Are you going to upload another video?
I don't know. Like, if Nintendo responds to my current video, then we'll see from there. But until then, I am wondering if I will even play Tears of the Kingdom live. Because they could just, if they don't like my playthrough, like with the precedent that they've set here of like taking down some of the videos that, because in the bundle of 20 videos that they have taken down, there is one of them that isn't even modified gameplay. It's just regular vanilla.
Yes. So after the 4 and then you appealed, they not only denied the appeal and issued strikes, they then went through your back catalog and started claiming dozens.
Yeah, well, I sent an email to them. I was like, hey, like, we can talk this out. Like, it's like, whoa, like, come on.
Because Nintendo loves to talk.
Yeah, they're all about
they
it.
love talking to creators.
But I was like, you know what? Let me like ask in case, because there's real people behind their screen too.
That's the professional thing to do.
Yeah, it's like they really care about like their IP and their games. And they might not have realized that they have like violated their own rules. So I was like, okay, let me like talk this out. And then the next day they striked even more. Well, they took down even more videos. They didn't strike them. They just took down 23 more videos. And I was like,
oh my God.
Well, 25, I think, if you include like the clips from my clips channel too, which was very targeted. Like it's like,
oh, they even went to a second channel?
Yeah, they went to my third channel, actually. Yeah, and they did that. And I was like,
if you need any more proof that it was targeted. Specifically you.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, like, my bad for trying to talk this out, I guess. So I, didn't dispute those or anything, because I'm like, okay, this is like insane
losing battle
at this point.
Yeah.
So then I decided to, after talking through like with my lawyer and everything of like what the options are, I released a video. And I specifically, like, the reason why like that was involved was because if I were to appeal those copyright strikes, right, get them off my channel, then Nintendo, in order to escalate that even further, would have to prove to YouTube that they filed a lawsuit in California. So I've seen a lot of like discourse, like overall of like, oh, hey, it's Nintendo, they're in Japan, they treat copyright differently. That's true, they do. But what they would have to do is that, because I am based in California, like my company's based in California, and they're issuing this DMCA on me, it's the laws in California that they'd have to argue against. So yeah, it's a little different. So I'm not fighting in Japan, we're fighting in California.
So you're in the middle of an escalation battle. You
right now I'm trying to talk Nintendo down.
Yeah. But they could escalate it one step further and do an actual lawsuit.
They could. So it's from what I know, they've never done that before, but I also don't want to be the first.
Yeah, you are kind of setting a precedent, which is
just a little.
Yeah, which I think this is a very important thing for all content creators who do anything Nintendo and people who like watching Nintendo content.
Yeah,
I want to explain to our audience a little bit that we like live streamers don't technically have the right to live stream any video game. It's all the rights holders' content. We're making content off of their copyright. They just allow it to happen because it's a symbiotic relationship. We're playing the game, we're getting eyeballs on the game, and other people are going to want to buy the game because of what we're doing. But Nintendo doesn't see it that way. They see it in this weird way. There's that whole thing that happened a few years ago where they had this really bullshit program that was like they take 30 or 40% of the revenue and then they'll allow you to like stream their game and stuff.
You don't remember that?
I don't. I wasn't
really?
A part of the content sphere during that time.
So
okay,
this might have been. I don't want to derail Bob. Do you want to finish your thing, Bob?
No. Go ahead. This is part of it. This is why Nintendo is so like behind the times in streaming and content
took your
creation.
revenue.
Yeah, so when I was first on the ambassador program, I was offered this opportunity before a lot of people, but it was literally a program, I forgot what they called it, for streamers and content creators. You could sign up and you could share, this was back on like Wii U times where they would block and strike and do everything they can to take any gameplay of theirs.
Yeah,
off
they wouldn't
the
allow you to do gameplay at all.
You weren't allowed to do anything.
Then they created this program in order to allow
where you
to
would
do
give
it.
them your like ad rev and like access to all of it, and they would take a cut of your ad rev, and you could only upload content or YouTube Nintendo content if you were signed up on their program and giving them a share of your ad rev. And that lasted maybe like a year or two. I don't think anyone actually did it. And then they just got rid of it. And they even made a big deal.
They were backlash about it.
They even, and you might be able to find this somewhere, it might help you, but they even made a big deal of like, you can now create content with our games without being on this program. We're just nixing the program.
They thought it was a good thing that they were releasing the program in the first place.
They've never understood what we do. They've never got it. Wow. They've never understood this relationship with influencers at all. We had Kit and Krista on the podcast, and I can't remember exactly what they said, but they talked about how they're influencing, and that scene is very different in Japan. They don't have podcasts in Japan because no one understands why you'd want to listen to people talk for extended periods of time. Like,
and Kit and Krista are the correct me if I'm wrong, the ex Nintendo Treehouse employees.
Yeah.
Is that the okay? I've heard of them through the woodworks.
Yeah, they were in charge of a lot of PR and marketing, and they ran the social medias, they ran the Twitter for them, and they ran Golan and the ambassador program. So they had direct contact and relationships with people that were like in the scene of dealing with content creators, and they just didn't get it. They don't get it, which is why they didn't want people creating content with their games. They don't want people showing their games. And it's why they still don't understand what you are doing for Tears of the Kingdom, for Breath of the Wild, for Zelda.
That's crazy.
And the relationship there. They just don't understand. Bob, sorry, did you have more?
No, the only point I wanted to make was that that's how behind the times they are, and they're using that little legal loophole, the fact that they own the copyright to the gameplay. They're using that as a way to take down POINTCROW's modding videos, because you're perfectly within your right to mod a game. Yeah. It's that you're using their copyright to create content. They're using that to strike down the video. It's a copyright strike. It's not any sort of other like legal takedown.
No, I'm glad you brought that up too. It's not, because I think it's getting kind of confused in some of the talks about this, where a lot of people are thinking it's like a cease and desist for like the mods that are that either we're creating or that I'm playing, where they're like, you cannot do this, like cease and desist, right? They're taking it down because they're like, we own the copyright to this.
It's literally the content.
Yes,
that they're.
It's not the fact
they're
that
using
I'm
that as
mod.
a loophole. Yeah,
it's the fact that I'm playing Breath of the Wild. Or Mario Odyssey, or Pokemon, or Wii Sports Resort. They took one of those down. That's the reason. And so while they are while their TOS, their Switch end user license agreement says that you cannot stream it, broadcast it, or make videos of it, right? like at all.
Which is insane. There's a share button on the Switch.
Yeah.
So if you press that share button, you're breaking the end user license agreement.
Literally.
Yeah,
like,
that's
actually.
a very good
and
point.
they can sue you.
So, but there is like, so that's like a thing where it's like you're not allowed to do that at all. But they did release, right? It's a really long name, so I'm not going to say it all, but it's like their content guidelines. I think they realized they're like, that's asinine, that's archaic, and we need to have some sort of rules if someone wants to share an image on Twitter, like they do, from the gallery, on the Switch. And so in that, they say that as long as you are having like creative input and commentary, then you can do this. And I mean, the content that I make is clearly transformative and the
so much so, like maybe more than any other content creator.
So much so you're transforming the game.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, literally.
So that license like kind of supersedes the terms of service there. It's the same thing as Twitch's. This is a very niche reference, but Twitch's 24-hour exclusivity clause in partner contracts, right? Where you can only stream on Twitch and that content on Twitch for 24 hours. They sent out a notice on their Twitter saying, hey, you know what? It's a little archaic. Let's actually have you, like, you can now stream on YouTube as well, but just not at the same time. So that's not in the contracts that we sign. It's just now that's a license that supersedes that. Like it's a clause that has been revised in an informal way.
Yeah.
It's like a notice for like a raise when you want to give an employee something else,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, an end user license agreement seems like such a weird thing to pursue legally because, first of all, nobody reads those, and everybody knows nobody reads those. Second of all, one of the legal standings is that you have to be able to read it before you purchase the thing, and nobody's doing that for Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
and it has to be reasonable. And how is it reasonable to not allow you to share something? Especially if it's that easily accessible.
Yeah, I mean, they've moved towards this. Yeah, the games industry's a couple of years ago moved towards this model of when you buy a game, you don't actually purchase the game itself. You're just purchasing a license to play the game. So you don't own anything.
Which is the John Deere. That's the John Deere argument where John Deere, sells tractors, and they were like, oh, you can't work on the tractor, you have to bring it to John Deere, and all the farmers went, are you crazy? This is America. I should be able to do whatever I want. Just like I purchased Breath of the Wild from the store, I have it in my hand, I can do whatever the hell I want with this thing because this is America, goddammit.
Exactly. Yeah,
it is America.
So if I want to put it in my computer and play with my friends through some multiplayer mod, I should be allowed to do that.
Exactly.
So to summarize this in layman's terms, they are copyright striking and claiming your mod videos, but they can't claim or strike them for the mods themselves. So they're claiming them for this archaic value of your streaming game. So we can claim these technically legally, but just you? What's but no, I haven't been hit. If this is going to go through and it gets to the point where it escalates and they need to legally prove that this is the way it should be, then they need to do it for everyone.
Yeah. So it's not just me. It's it's from what I know, there's 4 creators that they've hit.
I feel like they're about to add 2 more after this podcast.
So Beatemups and Wolfden is next.
Yeah,
of course, for number 5 and 6. But specifically, it's me, POINTCROW. It's Croton, who does a bunch of the second largest creator of this, and does a bunch of other Zelda content. Then there's Little L, who's another content creator for Breath of the Wild, a little bit smaller. And then one of the moderators for the multiplayer Discord, who did a how to install the multiplayer mod.
So
they hit that one,
connected,
which is but
all connected to this multiplayer mod or yourself in some way.
Yeah. So the videos that they hit
this is so targeted.
Yeah. So the videos they hit from Little L, I think the video they hit was from so there's 2 multiplayer mods, in case you didn't know. There's the online one, where you connect over Hamachi and a server, and you can play from different over the network.
Is that
and there's
that's what I did, right?
Yes, that's the one you did.
Okay.
And then there's the local multiplayer mod where it basically has 2 instances of your game, and you can play in it with like Parsec. It's just
I did one with Kim actually for a video where we were doing split screen.
Yeah, that's the split screen mod.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've done both. So I'm very in the wrong.
Yeah. So there's 2, right? And so we initially thought that they were only like hitting my specific instance of the mod. But so Little L played the online one and Croton played the local one. So they hit both. And they specifically took down the multiplayer mods. But for Croton, they took down the multiplayer mods and then 10 live streams of just modded stuff, and then 2 videos, one of the multiplayer thing, and then one of a challenge run where he killed every Lizalfos in the game, which was like, it's not even modded.
Yeah, we should have touched on that with you too. You tried to mention it, but you were so rapid fired in the claims that you also had a couple of videos caught up that aren't mods at all.
Yeah, which is like, that's the scary thing, right? So initially you can sort of understand from a perspective of like, okay, modded content, Nintendo is either A-okay or not okay with it. They say they're A-okay with it in their guidelines, but then on the other hand, they take it down.
They hate it. They hate it. It's obvious.
Yeah. So it's like, you can kind of like be like, all right, like yikes. But the fact that they're not doing their due diligence at this and they're hitting it very targeted and too rapidly and just kind of uneven, that they're also hitting just regular gameplay videos, challenge videos even, it's scary because it's like,
that's what's so dangerous about this is because like you might be able to understand their perspective because it's modded stuff and they want to protect their IP or whatever, but because they're using the copyright loophole, they could start to take down just anything Zelda footage they want, any Nintendo footage they want, which means the end of all of your favorite YouTubers.
Yeah, I mean, everybody that's made a reaction to like a reaction video to Tears of the Kingdom as of late, you can get your channel taken down. Like that's it's very much like reactions are less, and I'll go on the record saying like this, like reactions are less creative than that of creating a full video about the game. Like
it's less transformative, but also I think they do have strict rules about reposting trailers. So if you're just reacting to the trailer, it's even worse.
Yes.
So, and I actually hate. I did that. I hate doing that because it does feel like I am just reposting someone else's content.
It's too easy. It's too easy of content.
It's too easy.
It seems like a cheat.
It.
You know.
It is. It is a cheat. I get on trending every time I do it, and every time I'm like, I don't deserve this.
Yeah,
this isn't me.
When they had the gameplay video, like the 10-minute gameplay video, I streamed for 2 hours, and the stream trended, and I was like, I've never had that. You know, that's crazy.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so that's like, while still, you know, creative and commentary input during it, which is part of their guidelines still, it's much less than that
100%.
Of whatever else I'm doing. So it's like,
I agree.
It's very uneven and, in my opinion, unfair.
No, you were targeted. You unjust. Pick a word.
You know, it's an unfair sort of like takedown of their copyright. It's like, if you do it at this level, I feel like you have to do it with everyone's level. But I don't want to go on, you know, like, I don't want to say that because then I don't want to put anybody else in like danger. Like, I'd rather face the brunt of this myself so I can create a precedent for everybody else rather than be like, hey, look at these guys over there. You know, like, why don't you do something about them too? Because, you know,
that's super admirable too. But I say, heck it. If you're gonna do it, do it. Hit me, baby.
But
hit
also,
everyone.
Modding stuff is the best way to prolong the life of something like a game that we're all huge fans of. Like, otherwise, I would have freaking. I mean, you know, you beat Zelda once, you're done. That's it.
I would have dropped it years ago.
Day. Yeah, I'm still playing games like Mario 64, Mario World and stuff because of all the great hacks that are there. So
it's interesting to see companies like Bethesda embrace the mods and give people all the tools and the ability to share community mods. And I mean, that's a thing, right?
Because
like
they know
Skyrim.
No one's playing Skyrim anymore unless you're able to fuck with it in that way.
Yeah.
And you have companies like that fully embracing it, and then you have companies like this doing the absolute opposite and not understanding it. And this is I don't want to bring up Kit and Krista again, but something else they told us, which is more of like a Pokemon. I know I love them. More of a Pokemon anecdote than anything. But they once tried to suggest doing a Pokemon Nuzlocke on their channel,
on the Nintendo
channel.
Like
that'd be fun.
That they worked for.
Yeah, it would be, right?
Yeah.
But they got a very angry and stern email back saying, we consider that modding. Like you are modding. We do not stand for that.
Which is how little they understand.
That's who you're dealing with.
You know what a Nuzlocke is?
That's who you're dealing with right now, my guy. Good luck in court.
Yeah, we'll try.
Well, it's good if they don't know what they're talking about. That's good.
That's true.
God.
That is true.
Oh.
So how far are you willing to take this? You don't have to tell me if you don't want to. But
I as little as possible. Like I want to talk to Nintendo. Like that's the reason why I released the video that I did talking about all of this, is because I obviously like called to be like, hey, remove these strikes and claims. It's like not, fair, and it's also like not right by your own rules. But then I also was like, I don't want anybody to like boycott Tears of the Kingdom or like say like, I'm not buying this game. Like that's not the intention. Like it might be the fallout of it, the symptom, but like what I want is just to like have a conversation with Nintendo and being like, hey, this is like, I understand where you are or I don't really honestly, but like I want to like have this conversation where they can tell us what is going on from their perspective, and then we can show them stuff from ours and have numbers to back it up, because we do. And just have a dialogue, just like an open, sort of thing where we can make it better for both of us. And I mean, that's the only how it doesn't hurt to do that, to talk about it.
Yeah.
Behind closed doors, even. Like it's just like
there needs to be more of an explanation so that you know what 100%. They want or don't want.
Yeah.
Because right now they're just,
I don't know.
Strikes down.
I don't know what is going to step on their toes now at all.
Yeah.
Whatsoever. Like if they don't like my gameplay of Tears of the Kingdom, if they're like, he played the game wrong, which
he's doing a Nuzlocke at Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah,
we don't know what that is, and we don't like it.
Then they can take down my Tears of the Kingdom stuff. And it's like, I want to be able to have a very clear-cut, open understanding with Nintendo, this dialogue, so then we can all understand, okay, this is what you want right now. This is what we can do. And then we can have this like sort of push-pull situation and figure it out for both of us.
I love the way you're going about this. And this is why I wanted to get you on the podcast so bad, because it is so, not to bring it back to me, which is something I feel like I do all the time.
If we're keeping count at home,
about me
that's
right
at least
now.
the third time.
I know. But what you're describing is what I went through, having the situation.
It's a little worse.
No, it's worse. It's worse. But being in a position where something happened, when Nintendo hit you with something out of nowhere, and you didn't know why.
Yeah.
It took me 2 to 3 years to finally get an answer out of ex-Nintendo employees that had to quit the company to tell me. And that's the only reason I found out they actually did hate my Breath of the Wild mod video. And here you are releasing a Breath of the Wild mod and doing mod videos and wondering, hey, Nintendo, what is it that upset you, so I can continue not doing that? Because just like with me, if they had messaged me and been like, hey, we hated the mod video, I'd be like, taking it down, it's gone, it's not something I do. Don't worry about it, won't happen again. With you, let's say they're like, it's the fact you just released your own mod. At least then you could be in a position of, okay, how much does this mod mean to me? How much does modding the game myself mean to me?
Yeah.
You could not mod the game yourself or be involved in that and still make the videos.
Yeah.
But you have no idea if that's what upset them. It seems like it is, but why won't they just tell you?
Yeah,
that's the scary part, is that you're
not releasing.
So I'm sorry I brought it back to me.
Yeah, no, it's like completely. No, I get you though. Like that's the thing, and it's like I want to make sure that whatever happens out of the situation isn't some short term like, don't buy Tears of the Kingdom, get my videos back, and then when they do, then I just never talk about it again and continue. Like that's not what I want to do. Like it's with everything I do on my channel. It's like it needs to be long term. Like how do I make this whole industry better for everybody? And it's like that. That's like It's like, okay, you can put up my videos short term, but like, let's like really focus. Like, even if you don't put the videos back up, even if you like still strike my channel or whatever, right? Like, let's just have this very small thing. So then this won't happen again for anybody else.
Yeah.
And then we can both be happy. Like, that's the main thing I want to drive in. Cause I think Nintendo, from the very deep down of their developers' hearts, has like some really good intentions. Maybe that's naive of me to think, but I think they do. And that's like, I don't know, that's what I want. Like, we also have good intentions here, and it seems to be some sort of just like miss.
Yeah.
So like, if we can just like have that like hit right there, then like we'll be better. So
they don't get what we're trying to do, and we don't get what they're trying to do because they won't tell us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're pretty open about what
I just love the way that you've gone about it. Your video was very well structured. It was scripted. I told you this already in DMs, but it was very, once again, inspiring. I wish I could go back in time and do
everybody
should
watch. Everybody should watch POINTCROW's video explaining what happened, because it's a lot more concise an explanation of how they took down his videos and stuff.
That video blew up more than I thought it would. I thought it'd get like a couple 100,000.
No, people love when Nintendo
mine was number one on trending, baby, and yours is even more impressive than mine. So
it beat my record for 1 million views. The record was 4 days, which is crazy already. You know, like, don't get me wrong. But it was 14 hours. And I was like,
let's go, baby.
You know, I was like, that's crazy.
You know,
thanks, Nintendo.
A lot of people always are like, Wood's still salty about the Nintendo thing. Nah, man, that was the best time for my career. Like, I've only been up from there. I can't thank them enough.
So it's very humbling to see the amount of support that people have for the situation itself. Despite the fact that it's like, Nintendo's at it again. It's like, no, Nintendo's at it again, but it's like even more serious. And then also like, just generally, hey, you know, this sucks. We're here for you. Like, it's very nice to see.
Well, all jokes aside, I mean, it is serious. They're going after your entire livelihood and something that you've been building and creating for years now, to just strike it all down overnight because they're dissatisfied with something. And it does leave an ugly precedent for channels everywhere. I mean, my channel isn't even like mod. That's not what I do, but I've done enough that they could strike me enough to get rid of my whole channel.
Yeah.
And there are many channels out there. Bob's channel would 100% be screwed.
Yeah, I do a lot of emulation stuff, so that's
all of our channels. It's going into
that's
this.
That's the thing, though, is that like they could just retroactively, like with POINTCROW, they added 2 strikes at the same time, putting his channel in the red. They could do 3. They could group them in a way that it's 3 and just delete your channel completely.
They didn't do 3 because they knew what they were doing and they were sending a message, which is even more like, oh my God, really? Really? Like, this is actually pretty nuts.
Yeah. I'm in a very lucky position, like with everything like here. Out of all of the creators that could have hit, I guess, out of this, I'm somewhat glad it was me. Because, and that's like a weird thing to say, but I have diversified my content enough where I don't need like Nintendo. I don't need Breath of the Wild to continue on doing what I'm doing.
I agree.
I've like been able to really just kind of like expand my knowledge of content creation to just the general video gaming industry. And so I have that, like, while the livelihoods of me and my team are at stake, it's like, if we just, I mean, hell, tomorrow I could just be like, I'm not streaming any more Nintendo stuff. Good luck. Like, I don't need it, you know? So it's scary to think
yesterday,
about. But
I watched a video from you playing Calculator. playing the calculator game and trying to get a speed run on it, and I watched the entire damn video. So yeah, I think you're gonna be fine.
Yeah, I did eat water with chopsticks. That was a fun one.
That.
We did like some Minecraft modded stuff, some Elden Ring stuff.
And these are all ideas you're tossing out around making Breath of the Wild content, which has been your main. But there's no reason why, if that was taken off the table, you couldn't fully invest your efforts and your attention and your content brain into those ideas too.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, like, it's kind of holding me back a little, because it's like such an, well, I mean, like,
I like that Nintendo's holding me back. I love that tagline.
No, I mean, it's like think about it, because there's like, it's a very like easy baseline of like, oh, okay, like my Zelda stuff does well. I can just, this idea that I have like of, let's say chickens, right? Like, oh, it's so easy to just like apply that to Breath of the Wild, easy, pack it up, good, you're good to go. But it's uncreative to a point where it's like, I've done so much Zelda stuff and there's so many other things out there. Like maybe GTA, you could do that in GTA. You could do that in Elden Ring. You could do that same idea in a bunch of different games. But I chose a Nintendo game because, well, it's what I like. It's, you know, my fallback in the case, in a way. So it's like being forced to think about things, or like at least in this way, where I should not stream Nintendo games to an extent or mod Nintendo games. It's like, okay, what else can I do here? It's very eye-opening. And it's, you know, the creative brain is like rewiring itself as like over the past couple days. And there's some really cool ideas that I should have thought up a while ago, but because I've been, you know, so Nintendo centric, maybe I wouldn't have been able to.
And these other companies
gotta take more showers.
These other companies will let you do it. They will be more than happy to have you mod their game, and people are going to buy the game
send
because
you gift packages and thank you letters for
From
playing
Software
their game.
loves it, from what I know.
Yeah.
So
and
like,
they know what they're getting out of it.
Yeah.
They'll retweet you, they'll promote you, they will literally love it.
Yeah. I mean, like Nintendo took down 55 million views. Like
for their free advertising for their content.
Those videos were getting like, I think every day about like 100,000 views per day. Like
can you imagine
backlogs, you know? It's like,
what some companies would do to get 55 million views and Nintendo will like, let's just get rid of it.
From my sponsorship numbers of games, mobile games that have tried to make me play their game on stream and everything. It's a lot. Like, like the fact that
Raid messages us every day, we know.
It's more than a nice car, I'll put it like that.
Bob and I infamously have a mobile game story that to this day we regret not taking.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear it if you want to tell it. Like, I'm curious now.
I think we've alluded to it
before we even did this together. They offered us both. They wanted us to do a collab on a mobile game, and they offered a lot of money. And he said they called him first, and he said, "I'll only do it if Bob does it too." And then we were both going to be able to do it on our own channels.
Oh, nice.
And I was like on vacation, I think, and I was like making phone calls. I was like trying to figure it all out, and then I got the game and I played it, and it was horrible. We canceled the whole thing.
This was 3 years ago.
I was like, I'm gonna make so much money. This is gonna be awesome.
This was like 2-3 years ago, and it's a lot of money now. This was like 2-3 years ago. I want to ask, and you've alluded to it, but I want to get an answer. Do you have plans to buy Tears of the Kingdom, to play Tears of the Kingdom, to stream Tears of the Kingdom? What's your thought process?
That's a good question. I, at this point, right now, don't know. Beforehand, I was like, okay, I'm streaming Tears of the Kingdom day one. It's going to be on YouTube, exclusively streaming it on YouTube. It's going to be great so people can watch back the VODs. It'll be fun. It'll give a lot of hype for the game and like excitement for future challenges and stuff that I can do in the future. Now it's like, I don't know. Cause I know that the likelihood of Nintendo striking down a video of just gameplay is low. But the fact that it's not
normally
100%,
not zero.
Yeah, I would say it's normally low. It's low for me, but at where you're at right now, I wouldn't say it's low.
Yeah, so it's like I'm just like unsure if, I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things where I could play it and have that risk of getting my channel taken down. It's risk reward, right? It's a high reward of like, hey, my viewers get to be extremely happy about watching like their content creator play this game that they've really wanted them to play for the past couple of years. Like that's the huge reward. but the risk is like you might not be able to watch another video of mine again. And so I don't know. At this point right now, I am sort of waiting to see what Nintendo does regarding my videos. Because from what I know, it's been a somewhat of a PR nightmare for them, at least in the U.S. standpoint. Actually, I'd say international. We can only hope
that it's
a
PR nightmare.
I hope.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, I mean, it's like I've seen some international news sources. It's crazy.
They need to deal with it. They need to deal with backlash when they make big calls like this.
Yeah. So it's like I'm waiting to see what they do to make a full decision, but for right now, I am unsure. I won't.
That makes sense.
Yeah. While I would love to, it's like I got a month to figure it out.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, they have like 30. Do they have like 30 days to respond to the takedown request?
They don't have to respond at all, whatsoever. So I haven't appealed any of this stuff. I haven't disputed any of the claims right now. Because if I did, it would escalate it even further, and then I might have to, go to court and all this stuff. So right now, I'm just leaving it as it is, and it is in Nintendo's court. They could.
I would imagine they would drag it out as long as possible.
Yeah, I mean, dragging it out, they don't have to do anything right now. They either could. There's three options that they could choose. One, they reverse their decision, remove my strikes and claims, and they're like, hey, you know what? You're right. Our bad. We made these rules and we're going to stick to them. Which would be the ideal situation for everybody. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The second thing they could do is nothing. Which is like, hey, even if we fucked up, even if we made this decision, we're going to stick by it. Which is not good for anyone, frankly, but
they could do that, and
they could do that.
No repercussions. Nothing's going to happen. YouTube won't get involved. That could be an option.
Yeah, that could be an option. In which case, I move away from Nintendo modded content completely, and I don't know what's going to happen in the future with like that stuff. Or they could double down. That's the third option. They could then go across the internet, scorched earth, and just remove anything that they don't want. Or anything that, even...
I want that.
Yeah,
I want that so bad.
That would be really... I don't know. I don't think that would be great for them. It's just that would... The more creators they take down with this, the more they speak out about it, and then the more Nintendo gets, under fire for this.
Yeah.
It's just... But the thing is the repercussions.
I don't really want that, by the way. I just want to clarify. It's just the chaos. I love to watch things burn.
Yeah. So it's like the repercussions of it is unfortunate because what did they get from this? People I guess don't buy their game, but they will, and just everyone just gets hurt from it. I don't. Mm-hmm. Here's my thing. I don't understand the perspective of people defending Nintendo with this because they're only ruining their own enjoyment and own entertainment. Yeah. They just are limiting their own options. For creators, it's just come on,
I was a little bit surprised. I saw it posted. Your video was posted on the Nintendo subreddit, and I was looking at the comments, and there were a lot of Nintendo like bootlickers.
Yeah,
that were like, "What did he expect? Tears of the Kingdom's coming out."
And I don't think they understand that he's getting claimed for just making videos about the content, not the mods.
Don't.
That's what
I was
they're not
scrolling
getting.
trying to find somebody who was like, yeah, but you don't understand. The copyright is that they're using.
You can't say what did he expect, because you could
some
say
of the
that
videos aren't modded.
You could say that about me, about Bob, about any content creator, because these claims aren't claims for the mods. They're for the content. It's just for playing Zelda. That's what they're trying to claim you for. So what did you expect? Yeah, not to get claimed by that.
Yeah, it's not about it's not really about all of that. It's not about Nintendo defending their IP. It's about Nintendo going back on their own guidelines.
Yeah.
Because it's what I've I assume that a lot of the people that are just rip it and grip it, sort of about Nintendo of oh, hey, they're fine in this. They haven't actually seen the video itself, because in it it's very much it's not that they're trying to defend their IP. I'm oh, why'd you take down my videos? It's more you have set out these rules for us content creators, and I have followed these rules like you have put out for us, and then you still took down my content. It's like you're going back on what you said, and then you have no explanation for it. That's like that's the main thing about it.
Also,
of course, they have
any-
to, like they should defend their IP. Like they should very much like be in line with that, but they shouldn't like say here's all these rules and then go back on them. That's the point.
I don't think anybody's watching your video going, "Oh, I want to spawn 1,000 chickens a second in my I'm gonna buy Breath of the Wild." And
no, they want to play the game. They're like, whoa,
they know that it's a mod. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like it's on one hand,
people are smarter than that.
It's so confusing to have Nintendo, specifically with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, go out publicly saying this is a sandbox game. You can be as creative as you want. We'd love to see your stuff. And then when I am, they're like, don't be creative in that way. And it's like
it's too creative.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. It's like a slap in the face, especially as someone who's grown up playing Nintendo games in the way I have. It's like
made them a lot of money because people are watching your videos and they want to play the game.
I don't know exactly how many people have bought Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey or Wii Sports Resort from my videos, but it's significant. I'd put it like that. It's a lot. My overall channel has almost 300 million views, and a lot of it's Nintendo stuff. So it's like,
they're playing the vanilla game. They're not expecting to buy it, and
like
I wish we got breakdowns of stuff like that because I would love to see how many copies we've all sold of certain things, as opposed to certain actual paid marketing campaigns that Nintendo have produced themselves. Because I bet.
I mean, what was said at the start of the podcast? POINTCROW said he watched my video before he bought a Switch.
There you go. Literally, like that's the reason I bought my Switch is because I watched a video about.
Do you think Nintendo ever gave a shit about me or my videos?
So it's like the whole thing about content creation is we are we're attention grabbers. That's our whole thing. It's like, I want your attention. You're going to watch my stuff and then you're going to go on and do everything else. And specifically for people who play games, it's in the best interest for people to play the games that we, create with, because then you are more likely, the barrier of entry for the context needed to watch the video is so much lower for people who know what it is, right? Like the amount of people that will be able to watch a Legend of Zelda video is much higher because the barrier of entry is lower than something of that like Peggle, which you may not have heard of. So it's harder for somebody to click on it. So we have the incentive to essentially be like, hey, I'm playing this game and you should buy it as well. So then you can enjoy my videos more and then we're both happy, So
and again, most companies know that.
Yeah.
Just Nintendo is so weirdly protective over how people perceive their IP that they gotta do weird shit like this.
Yeah, it's very interesting to take a step back from like the whole industry and sort of like tear it apart. I know like we make funny videos on the internet or just like informative stuff, but it's like it boils down to that. It's essentially we are marketers, and we sell attention.
Oh, you sold my attention. Nintendo, if you're watching in some chance, we love you.
Please don't hurt us.
We really do.
Please don't look any deeper than this podcast.
We really love you. And we don't understand a lot of the things that you do. And this is one of them where I think a certain point on your end has been missed with what a certain point on our end is doing. It's POINTCROW. It's a point joke. And I think that you should fix it.
We've talked about this before. We want to give Nintendo our money, and we're making them money by talking about their stuff. But for some reason, they come back and slap us in the face whenever we help them out.
If you don't like mod videos or you don't like mods in general, just say so. Just come out and say explicitly what it is you don't like about them.
Okay, so we can keep helping you out by making videos on your stuff.
Yeah. Let us know what the guidelines are of what's the best and worst things to make around your content. That way, if we decide to break them and we know we're doing something you don't like and we get struck down by it, at least we understand why, as opposed to just going along making content that a bunch of other people are doing and that we're all doing, and then randomly getting struck for no reason and having to deal with repercussions of something that can be life-changing for some of us. It doesn't make any sense to do it this way. And what you're doing in this case with POINTCROW's content is not right. You're not following your own guidelines. It doesn't make any sense. And the way it reads is that you got upset that he was working with releasing his own mod and you decided to try and punish him. But if you're going to try and punish him for what he's doing, then you have to punish everybody. So
a mod which he's legally within his right to work on.
Yeah, and you can strike the mod.
Like,
you
there's
can
no Nintendo
cease and desist the mod. You can do something to that mod if you really want to, but with what you're doing to his content is reading as very petty, and you can't. It's an all or nothing. You either have to do it with everybody or go after the thing you're actually upset about. Why do you think they didn't just go after the thing they're upset about?
I have no idea.
Because they
honestly
can't really, because this is the easiest path to strangling him.
It's a scare tactic.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
I mean, the way we've done like the mods and stuff too is very above board in my opinion. Like before releasing anything, I go to my the developers and say, hey, like, does this have any Nintendo assets in it? Like, are we releasing like copyrighted material? And it's like, okay, well, we need to change this and change that. And it's like, okay, then do it before, put this into the wild. So then it's very much just like all of the code and everything, it like generates within the game rather than like
Breath of the Wild?
With anything.
Yeah, you said in the wild, but just making a joke. If what you were doing, sorry, even if what you were doing with the mod was wrong, which it's not, that doesn't change the way they're trying to fight it, which is the wrong way to fight it because it's not.
Yeah, through copyright.
It's nothing to do with the mod.
Yeah.
But the mod is fine. I'm just saying, even if it wasn't fine and you were doing something illegal there, they're not attacking the mod directly. They're attacking your content, which has nothing to do with it.
I want to explain that most mods for popular games that I've ever played with, and I'm assuming it's the same thing with the multiplayer mod, is you need the game already, in however way you acquire it, and then you apply the mod. So the mod doesn't have any actual assets or anything. It's just the mod is messing with the game that you have. So you're not.
That's like the thing. You need to purchase your game. Like so the way I encourage it and the way that I tell everybody to do it is you need to buy the game, and then you are legally allowed to dump those files of the game onto your PC. And then you can,
Nintendo would argue that you're not, but that's Nintendo's problem.
And then you are allowed to, emulate the game itself with your game files that you've already purchased. So it's like, that's the way
so you're not providing them those game files. You're providing them the thing that messes with the game file.
Yeah. So it's like we're just providing a code that when you run the code with the game, it does some funky stuff and makes the floor lava. Like that's what we do. It's like it takes the files from the game that you have already purchased and then messes with those.
Um,
which is why that's perfectly legal to do.
Yes.
That's actually interesting. I appreciate having that explained to my brain just now because that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because it's so easy to like release like code that has assets in it and just be like, oh, rather than take the file from the game, we already have the file in the code. It's like that's easy to do, but it's not right. Like that's when you get into the oh, now we're distributing Nintendo assets, and that's not what I want to do at all.
I think that's what confuses a lot of people who are taking Nintendo's side.
And I've never encouraged
just giving away the game.
Yeah, I do not, and I never encourage piracy. Even like people with like call to actions under my tweets of like, this is why I pirate Nintendo games, and it's like, no. Like, despite the fact that Nintendo is very much in the wrong here, it's like I don't encourage you to do that still, and I will never, because it's like. That doesn't help anybody in this case, like. So
you're to dumb this down. I love dumbing things down because a lot of the people watching are my audience, and we're all very dumb. Your mod, your mod doesn't have any assets from Breath of the Wild, doesn't have any of the base files Breath of the Wild. You're not giving anybody any part of Breath of the Wild. It is just something that tweaks the files you already should legally have to act in a different way.
Yes.
That's cool.
I mean, you did it, right?
That's cool.
You did it yourself.
Yeah, but I never understand what I'm doing when I do it.
To be fair, it's like a complicated instructions.
I plug something in and it works. But that's actually even more interesting having that side of it explained, because now even more for people like me can see exactly how you haven't done anything wrong and exactly how Nintendo is going after you in the wrong way for the thing that you didn't even do wrong in the first place.
Yes. Yeah. I'd go with that. Yeah. It's a good way of putting it. It's very like that's
why I love dumbing things down, baby.
If I wasn't like in the weeds about this, that would be perfect. So
okay,
yeah, I know way too much about all of this now. It's like I can recite the YouTube copyright system from my like sleep now.
So we'll hit you up when something inevitably happens.
Please do. I'm always like down to help anybody with anything. Like
that's what I was going to ask. Last thing, because I know you got to get out of here. Do you have someone on your side here, like an MCN or like someone at YouTube, that if your channel does get strucken down, you do get that third strike, do you have someone that can help fight for you?
I do have a YouTube representative. So I do know somebody at YouTube who has been helping with this. And so I think it's so what's been happening is I've been getting a lot of this information from YouTube itself of like, here's the process that YouTube does for copyright takedowns and everything. And they've been extremely helpful with like me navigating the system for it. So I like want to go out and say, I mean, thanks YouTube for that. I know they get like a bad rap for a lot of things. And I've had some problems in the past too, but for this case, they've been actually like really helpful with it.
I've had a pretty good experience. I think Bob too, right?
I think we might all have the same rep, but I don't want to say his name.
I'll DM you afterwards.
Yeah.
Is it a 3-letter name?
Yeah.
We all have the same one, baby.
He's great. So you're in good hands there.
Yeah. So been extremely helpful with that, and it's like, so I don't have an MCN or anything, but I mean, I have some help to answer some questions, basically.
Yeah, he's usually really good and responsive, so you're in good hands. All right, I'm gonna let you get out of here unless you have anything else you want to add or you want to say.
Nintendo, please. We're trying to help. Like I'm trying to make people buy your game. Like I do great stuff, in my opinion at least. And I mean, hell, just if you could just like have a conversation with us, that would be awesome.
I mean, I know Nintendo has eyes on the podcast in some regard, and certainly my content, and I'm sure Bob's after the video he made recently. So yeah, if you guys are watching, we literally
try not to bring any heat on me. You know,
we literally
throw you under the bus.
Just trying to get this resolved in the nicest way possible. So if you could please hit our boy Eric back, he'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me on this podcast. This has been a lot of fun.
Welcome.
Thanks for coming.
Seriously,
yeah.
I mean, it's great.
If nothing else, I hope it changes public opinion to a lot of people on what the situation exactly is.
Yeah.
So.
Could I say one more thing too?
Mm-hmm.
Subscribe.
Oh my god, the content brain never turns off.
Comes out.
If you watch this far, you are legally like obligated to subscribe. So
true. So true. And also there is another legal binding contract that states you must subscribe to our Patreon to now watch the bonus episode that's about to release.
There you go. There you go. We'll do it.
Thank you so much, Eric POINTCROW. Everybody go check out his content and his streams, his Twitch channel, his YouTube channel. It is some of the best content that's out there right now in the Nintendo space, if it's permitted to continue. But in general, I think has some of the most fun, wacky content. So go check it out and watch it. And hopefully I'll be there at some point too again. That'd be fun, right?
We have plans to use the multiplayer mod for sure.
Yeah, we didn't say that. We were going to do a 4-player Let's Play of Breath of the Wild using your mod on Twitch.
Full? I got to play the whole game?
4 player. Okay. I'm not committing to 4 unless we're doing Eric's 30-minute speed run.
That'd be good content. No one's done it yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no one's done a 4
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, that's it, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week or in the bonus in like 2 minutes. Bye.
Bye.